You will never see J.K. Rowling on this show. That's for damn sure.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Cheap Smut. My name is Katie Mizell.
And my name is Carl Mizell. If we both do it, neither one of us is wrong.
And this is an author interview that just started out fantastically. Welcome to our very special author profile of R.E. Johnson. Yay!
How are you, Art?
I'm doing finger guns. No one can see it, but I'm doing finger guns.
Now we have to use the video, so I'm so sorry. R.E., you are a lover. It says here of dark and decadent and deadly romances. You apparently you are a college graduate with a creative writing degree. So good job putting that to work, which is impressive. Well, I mean,
I'm using my degree.
Thank God one of us is.
You're talking to two people. You're talking to two people with 3 degrees between them, all of them related to theater, and not a one of us doing anything with it. Not in theater.
My mom.
So don't.
My mom's degree is in film, so
There you go. There you go. And allegedly, you live in Las Vegas. Okay.
Yes, it's very nice.
Yeah, no, it's what we visited Las Vegas for the first time last year. I had a work conference and I got to take Katie with me, and I was not a fan, but that's because I live in a temperate climate with trees and seasons.
That's true.
It's true. We don't have trees.
Yeah,
That's
or
accurate.
seasons, and you're also apparently. This is the thing that
I don't know what they are.
I think I saw a couple trees. This is the most fascinating thing about you that I found was really interesting is that you're secretly 3 kobolds in a trench coat. That is my favorite.
This is accurate. Yes.
And they're very well hidden, I must say.
Yeah. We've perfected it over the long centuries that kobolds have, been around. We only live about like a year apiece, so we cycle through.
You gotta.
Constantly cycling new kobolds.
Really short lifespan.
Yeah, it's like how they say that you get like new taste buds every 7 years or whatever.
Yeah.
You just get a whole new kobold every year.
Yep.
I just get a whole new kobold
so
because they die really easily. They have like 4 hit points.
Yep.
I'm pretty sure that like anybody, even a level 1, could kill a kobold. Like you just smash them with a hammer and you're good.
Now, prior to I didn't take up D&D until later in life, but the first encounter that I had with kobolds was they were referenced briefly in the book Ready Player One, because he couldn't leave his like home planet or like his school planet. He couldn't leave Ludus, so the only thing he could do was like fight kobolds and try to grind XP. He had
to grind.
Grind XP killing kobolds, which is the worst sound. As somebody who is an avid gamer, that sounds like the worst idea.
I remember many moons ago grinding my ass off through Final Fantasy VII and having that feeling for the little bat thing. And I'm like, I just don't want to fight these anymore. But I can't fight the boss. He's too strong. I will die.
Yep. No, you're. See, now that this conversation should have come with a trigger warning from me, because now I'm flashing back, 27 years now, I think. Oh my God. I played it at release. I'm old.
I'm 37. Don't feel bad.
You're not that old, babe.
I'm almost 46.
Yeah, I know. And I'm
I look good for
36.
it, though.
Yeah, we're all lovely people for our age.
Exactly. So it sounds like you're a gamer. So when you're not writing, you're gaming. What do you have a current game that's your jam at this moment? I know you got a lot on your plate, but do you get a lot of time?
I do. When I get the rare opportunity when I'm not wrangling the other tiny kobolds that live in my house, I usually play Diablo with my husband, because it's very it's button mashy. You can just do. And the new one has customizations. What am I playing as? A necromancer. And I made her the most edgelord thing on the planet. She's so great. Like, she's wearing red leather and has the, like, slicked down hair and tattoos everywhere. And I'm like, yeah. I just want to, if I could swap, I feel like that'd be fun. Although constant almost dying probably is not great.
Yeah, but they always look so good in the leather pants, though.
As they die.
As you die.
Is it worth it? Is it worth it to just look that good in leather pants?
I mean, if I looked like my character did.
I bought the new Diablo and then almost immediately put it down. I know that there's a lot, like, amongst the avid Diablo community. I know there's, like, Diablo 2 is best faction and, you know, Diablo 3 is best faction. I skew towards Diablo 3. I know that's one that's sort of controversial because it's like, oh, it's too accessible for the casuals or whatever, but I had a fucking blast playing it.
Well, I'm not super precious when it comes to video game, like, alignments, I guess, if we're going to use another game term. I just play what's fun. Like, I was not allowed to play when I was growing up, so I had a huge learning curve to make up for when I met my husband. So I was like, what's easy and not a shooter? Because I suck at them. So that's what
this one over here. This one over here does not. Ooh,
Oh.
That's nice. This one over here does not suck at shooters. We played the hell out of Borderlands 2.
I'm good at apparently.
I wish I was better.
Sniping is the only thing I'm really good at.
Oh yeah, if they hold still, then it's a different story. But the like you running at me and me having to strafe and shit, I'm like, no, please don't do that. Like when we played Shadows of War, I thought my husband was going to throw the controller across the room. And I was the one holding it because it's a one player. It was because I would just stand up on the like tops of buildings and I would just be like, wait, that guy is right there. Wait. And it would be me for 5 minutes trying to kill one dude, and Ryan was just like, I gotta go.
This is taking.
I gotta go.
This is taking. I'm going to literally die. IRL.
I can't.
Well, so there's a good jumping off point. So, we read Till Death Do Us Part for the show.
Yes.
And that shit is
the highlight of my life.
That shit was dark, and I'm glad that we were able to be a part of that. And so my question for people who usually like create like really dark content, like obviously I'm not saying like where do you dig this darkness from within, but what sort of sets you on the path to being like I want to create dark things?
So none of my stuff, even the fluffiest one, which is Cherry Cobbler, which is a Valentine's Day MMM. No, not 3 M's. 2 M's. And that'd be cool too, though. Like, wait, no, Bree's not a dude. Bree's a woman. And that's Valentine's Day, and she's a baker, and she's a witch. And it's like a bi-awakening happens in there, and it's decently cozy. And even in that one, I have the drunk driver that killed her deceased husband try to come back and kill her.
Sure.
Like, I don't really know how to write without it, and that's probably telling in a lot of ways, but I don't want to explore that right now.
No, it's no need.
Yeah, we're not trying to diagnose you or like unravel your psyche. We just want to know,
right?
Like, what made you go, what if the guy from Saw was a hot dude who fucks?
Right? So I've always been obsessed with the story of Bluebeard. And I was like, but what if Bluebeard, the guy who kills his wives and traps them up and puts them in a room, was hot and fucked? And also, demons are cool. And I love Halloween. So what if I took that and masks and the movie Saw, which I actually don't like, but I liked the premise of.
The traps
and I was like,
fun.
what if I did my own? The traps are fun. What if I did my own thing with it? And then, I mean, I had an outline. It did exist, and it was there. But whenever I outlines are like, and then they get to this room, and this is the trap in there, and that's kind of it. Like, it doesn't say, and then this is where he's going to watch her from the security cameras and jerk off. Because that just happened while I was writing. And I was like, oh, apparently he's jerking off now.
You know what?
Well,
we're cool with it. We're cool with it.
Here we are.
You know what? I read that scene 4 times to get a better idea of Dominic Peen.
Wait, do I have it in arm's reach? I do. No. Dominic Peen.
Oh my god! Wait, I gotta get
can't.
closer. I gotta get closer to my screen.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh, there we go.
Oh. That is fantastic.
Simpson has in fact been voted most original Peen, which I'm going to tell everyone for the rest of my life. It's just everywhere.
I really hate to tell you this because it hasn't come out on the main feed yet, but we did give that title to S.J. Sanders last week for her frog alien. Yeah.
Oh, because that's right. I'm actually super excited because I heard the little clip of it today, and I'm like, oh my god.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, this sounds great.
It was such a blast.
You describing the cum, I was like, oh, okay.
It's.
I was like, oh,
it's
right.
a lot.
It's a lot. It is.
It's a lot. No, ultimately, I'm always fascinated with inspiration. You know, like when you hear a band or a musician say, "Oh, I was really into blank," and you go, "Oh, I can hear it," or "I don't hear that at all," but you know that sort of thing. So I wasn't sure if when growing up, if you were like me and you watched horror movies at a wildly inappropriate age, you know.
No, I'm a big giant brady cat. I watch them now and I'm all right. But I mostly lean towards horror comedy.
Oh, yeah.
Because it's not that I'm squeamish, I guess. It's not really that. I think it's more, I don't like jump scares.
Yeah.
So it depends on the movie. Like, I can handle suspense and tension and thrillers and like, Hitchcock's the best ever. I could watch those forever. Like, I love them. And I really like Scream and the whole way that plays on the horror movie convention, but I just don't like jump scares because I tend to flail and hit things. And I'd rather not.
No, absolutely. And we had that.
Like, if anybody does it, they will pay the price. This like, don't do it. My reaction is to smack you. Don't do it.
we had this conversation.
So I just...
No, but it's good to know. It's good to know your limits. You're the second person on this show or on an episode of this show that has talked about like saying I'm kind of into it, but comedy, and I think comedy is the sort of, for lack of a better term, lubricant. You know, the sugar that makes the horror medicine go down because it gives you the opportunity to laugh and break up that tension.
Yeah, like Totally Killer was the best thing. I enjoyed it so much.
God, that movie was so much fun.
It's so good. And I did message you, and I watched Lisa Frankenstein.
Yes, I asked you, I don't know if you saw it because it was like in a big wall of text, if it was good. Because I thought it looked good.
I enjoyed it quite a bit, yes.
I thought like it would...
My husband got annoyed with me like halfway through because he's like, Rachel, you have to stop saying that you're gonna fuck him. You have to.
I can't because that's Cole Sprouse. That's a child to me. I know he's a grown man. That's a child.
I know. It's so
hard.
Weird. This is how I feel about seeing Tom Holland, because if I were younger, I'd be like, And I'm like, no, but I could be his mom if I really tried. And I don't want, that's weird.
Yeah, I know.
But he's very, very cute.
That's the phrase that I've used in the past was like, if I were cool in high school, I could, like, you know, I could have potentially, but like, you know, if I was 18 or 19, you could potentially be my child. But now I'm 40, you know, almost 46, and I drop my son off at school, and there are parents who have kindergartners who I'm old enough to be their parent. Like, you know, somebody who's 23, 24 years old, I could reasonably be their parent.
You could be a grandpa,
I could be. I have been accused of being a grandpa. It's inappropriate.
That's such a weird thought. My daughter keeps joking about it. She's like, and this is my baby, so you're her grandma. And I'm like,
you need to stop. Yeah.
Yeah.
The worst was, the worst was when I went out for a walk with our son in our neighborhood when we still lived in Philadelphia, and this 804-year-old man on his porch was like, "Oh, taking the grandson out for a walk." I'm like, "Eat shit, Methuselah."
Fuck you! You suck ass.
That's not to say that like young grandparents aren't also the shit. 'Cause I have a cousin who is a grandmother at 38.
Oh yeah, that's right.
37,
Yeah, that's
38.
just a year older than I am.
I mean, she's the only grandma I know who looks like she could legitimately kick your ass. I love her. It's just
My mom doesn't look like she could kick your ass, but she definitely would. 100%. And leaving my children in her care, I'm like, they're good.
Yeah, you're fine. You're fine.
She'll handle it.
So I'm
fine.
fascinated because you have a degree in creative writing, and you mentioned in your bio that you wrote your first novel when you were in the 5th grade. So you clearly had a love for writing from a young age. You loved it so much that you went to college for it. So what now? No. So hear me out. So now that
no, I didn't start there. I'm changed majors.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
But you did come out of college with a creative writing degree. So
I did.
What
correct.
now that you're a capital W writer, capital A author? What is? Were there any misconceptions that you had as a college student wanting to write that now that you're an actual writer, you're like, man, this wasn't anything at all like I imagined it was going to be?
That I needed to wait to find an agent and a publisher. Don't fucking wait. There's no reason to wait. Just fucking do the thing. Like, I appreciate what the publishing industry started as and sort of tries to do, but there's so much gatekeepy, only 5 people in all of a whole company that you can pitch to nonsense about it, that it's like the odds of ever getting seen that way are infinitesimal. Like, don't do that to yourself. Do this. Just self-publish. And you know what? People comb that crap all the time for deals. So if you really want a trad deal, you can still self-publish and maybe get one that way. But I like this. I get to decide and make my own covers. I get to decide my release schedule. I get to push a title if I'm like, hey, I just got the flu and was sick for 3 days and need more time. Yeah. And I don't have to make myself feel bad about that. And I get to decide what I want to write about. There's nobody in the background going, wait. So she asked him to rip his heart out, and then he squeezes it over her junk, and they use it as lube. And I don't have to. And I'm just like, yes.
Is that what I?
Yes,
is that what I'm reading? Is there any subtext for?
Correct.
Nope. No.
Nope. Just that.
Is it a metaphor? Sure.
Yes.
If that's what you need it to be, it's a metaphor.
I'll rip somebody's heart out for you.
Yep. And you find that so arousing. That's the metaphor. Yeah.
Yep, that was it. It's pretty on the nose, I guess.
I mean, it doesn't have to be complicated, you know? It doesn't have to be Angela's Ashes. Sometimes it can just be demon porn.
Man, that book.
And that's okay.
It's mostly just demon porn. And, like, I saw that nonsense, and it comes around all the time, so, like, you get used to it the longer you've been on socials that, you know,
the porn.
Can we have a book that's not porn? And I'm like, I mean, there's plenty, but not. I'm gonna do this.
Not for me. Not today.
I'm good, man.
No.
It's true.
Like, life involves sex. Sex is fun. I enjoy reading about it. And it's fun to weave it into stories. And sometimes that's it. And sometimes it's just a smutty book. And sometimes even in the nugget of the smutty book, there is technically he did actually help her hunt down all the people that wronged her and promised to devote his entire being to her beyond eating people. So that's kind of romantic.
It's very romantic.
And kind of nice.
I thought it was super sweet.
And then, you know.
It was...
I know. And it was so funny because no one else has said it besides you guys, but they don't. They never say I love you in the whole of the book. And I do it very on purpose because to them, they're just like, people throw around that word all the time. That's not what this is.
Yep.
This is like end of the world shit. And I'm like, yeah I got you, my babes.
You bring up an excellent point. Katie posted a video recently of some chode, you know, like asking if there's some... Does anybody read a book on this godforsaken app that isn't straight porn? Which demonstrates first of all, it demonstrates a wild lack of understanding of what the industry is. Like, I mean, romance of all different flavors dominates.
Mm-hmm. And has for ages.
Yeah, exactly. But because women like it, it can't be serious, is the underlying argument there.
Well, that was the whole bullshit that started with sci-fi and fantasy in general. Like, if you read that shit, you were trash. Those were trash books. Like, getting any of that stuff seen as real fiction, as real novels, was like, no. Unless you're this, it does not count. And I remember in college I did take a sci-fi class that was all about those kinds of books, and I think it was the 5th time that I got to read Frankenstein, and I aced that paper by then because I just kept rewriting it.
Yeah, but they
and and they're just like, it's just made up fancy shit that is a fun way to see what normal people would do in any type of situation. Yeah. Like, it's all just a way to see how humans handle stress.
Exactly. That's all. That's really all literature is in general, is just a way for you to experience things you never would otherwise.
Yeah.
And in the case of, say, dark romance, it's a way for you to experience things that you should not experience in real life safely. Hey.
Yeah.
I celebrate and support that.
Yeah. Well,
yeah.
And that's ultimately what I was driving towards, which, we were talking about video games earlier, and you say you're not very precious about that sort of thing. Do you ever... It's one thing, because I feel like it could potentially be one thing. Like, yeah, I write smut, but you write extremely dark smut. So do you ever feel like you're spending an inordinate amount of time trying to, like, defend the genre, or do you just sort of go, you know what, fuck it, man. I know my audience. I know my crowd. They'll find it. Everybody else can kick rocks.
I have massive, overwhelming anxiety disorder. So in order to protect myself, I just say fuck it. I can't. Like, I'm just gonna say, you know what, these are the types of books that I like. These are the types of books that I want to write, and there apparently is a market for them. So I'm gonna stop analyzing right there. Right. I'm just gonna be like, nope. That's what it is. It's cool. When I saw the number count tick up for pre-orders for Till Death, my highest pre-order at that point had been 10. And I was like, fuck yeah, I got 10 fucking pre-orders. And it shot to 54. And that's like nothing to a bunch of people. But I was like,
no, that's amazing.
I found my genre, man. This is what I'm supposed to do. So, like, if anything, y'all are just making me feel like I should do it more.
Yeah, there you go.
You absolutely should do it more.
With mutable peen.
Yes, mutable peen. I can't wait for the mutable peen. I'm so excited for that. I thought Carl was going to ask, because you write such dark stuff, do you spend an inordinate, wow, that's a hard word.
It's a fucked up word. Don't
amount of time thinking of new and interesting ways to describe bodily fluids like blood.
Oh, I was going to get to that, but I'm kidding. I wasn't going to get to that, but do answer that, please.
So, okay. I don't know how other authors' processes are, because they're all weird and different, but I have a basic outline when I sit down, and then I know what I need to accomplish in the chapter in order to get to where I need to go to make the book happen. And then the words fall out. And I just do things. So, like, yeah, I have training that says if you're starting every single paragraph with the word she, really try to switch that up. That's going to get annoying. And don't start all your sentences the same, and try not to use the same words repeatedly. So yeah, saying blood all the time. You're like, okay, I have to come up with a different way to say this. But there's also the concept of purple prose, where you're like, okay, I just took 2 sentences to describe what blood was to make sure that you understood that that's what I was talking about. I think that was too much. So it's like a weird thing where you're just like, it's been 2 paragraphs since I've said the word blood. It's fine. I'm going to say it again. Other times your instinct to get flowery with it, I feel like, can lead you down the wrong path. Just say, if you don't want to say blood, just say red. Just say liquid. Just say other, like, basic words, though. You don't have to get crazy. Like, the sticky crimson of life. Like, that's a mouthful. Don't ever say that. So I do not support that phrase at all. Don't ever say sticky crimson of life. Because it might also be, because, like, It could also technically be sperm, depending on what we're talking about here. So
I'm never calling blood anything other than that now.
God, do you have any idea how many tattoos I need to get because of this show? The sticky crimson of life.
Crimson of life. I could just.
Wow.
Amazing.
It does. Doesn't that sound like something that they would say on like a show that in depth talks about pregnancy?
Oh my God,
and, like,
yes. Like because you have that very specific bleeding that happens when you give birth vaginally. It is darker than regular blood, even. So you could call that the sticky crimson of life.
Venus blood.
Yeah.
Venus
0
blood.
out of 10, by the way.
Anyway,
0 out of 10. Giving birth
let's go back to the interview. I liked that better.
No, this is it.
Oh no!
All we're gonna talk about for the next 30 minutes is Venus blood.
Great.
We talk about how my dog is just being adorable.
Yeah,
over
look at
here.
him back. Can you say Himbo Jones?
Oh,
He's a
Himbo.
babe.
Himbo Jones.
What are you doing? He's like, no, go back. You were covering me. Don't expose me and put me on camera.
He's sleeping behind me. He's sleeping with his face like in my back. He's such a baby.
That's
I learned about Venus blood during basic combat training. During
wow. Okay.
Oh.
No, I was getting because there's whenever it's so my brain draws weird connections. So I had to take I had to take combat CLS or combat lifesaver courses, and we talked about the different types of blood and Venus blood and that sort of thing. And there was a conversation about Venus.
Just call it crotch blood or something. Like the Venus makes it worse.
Well, no, that's what it's called.
It's the deep vein blood.
Yeah, deep vein blood.
Oh,
it's called.
It's Venus.
I'm like, are we going with an Aphrodite thing?
Yeah.
No, Venus blood. That's how it's like the really dark stuff.
There we go.
And we learned about that right around the time we learned about how to deal with the pneumothorax, like if you have a collapsed lung, right? And we had to learn how to puncture. We had to learn how to
Well, not
no. We had to learn how to puncture somebody's chest in order to do that. And my drill sergeant said, now if you have if you got somebody who's got like a slightly more developed chest, that could be very difficult. Mizell's as good as dead. And that was the weirdest compliment.
It's your big old pecs.
It was the weirdest compliment I ever got.
You're gonna die.
So whenever I think of Venus blood, I think of the time I learned about pneumothorax, and the drill sergeant sort of complimented my chest development.
Pecs?
I just like to.
You're like, I don't know how to feel.
I know,
about
right? It's like, thanks.
Okay, thank you.
Hopefully my lung never collapses because I'm fucked otherwise. Yeah, it's what did I?
So I mean, yeah, don't have
What
that
did all this
happen.
training for?
Thanks, drill sergeant.
Thank you, drill sergeant.
I mean, that's the only correct answer.
Yeah, it really actually is. But thank you for that digression. So when it comes to creating things that are dark, I have to imagine that you sometimes find a germ of an idea or an inspiration, perhaps, in a very not dark place. Have you ever found something like in the real world that you sort of reappropriated? And you could be like, fuck no, man, I haven't. But have you ever?
No.
Have you ever pulled from something that wasn't super dark and then found a place for it in something that was rather dark?
Okay, so it's kind of neat that we're talking about medical shit now because it's helping my brain process as
You're
well. Because
you're
again,
both welcome.
I too make weird connections. My husband will always be like, "Rach, you gotta back up a couple of steps there. I don't know how you got from peanuts to wanting to talk about it. Like we gotta. Where's the roadmap?
Do you mean like the cartoon strip or?
I mean,
The
either
food.
way, I want to know. I want to know all the stops on that train. I want to know every stop on that train.
Do you think Linus is
'cause
into
peanuts
pegging?
lead to
Yes or
pegging.
no? No. it's-
Yes,
At all.
100%.
Hands down.
Oh
Hands
my
down.
God.
Yeah, that boy will take anything.
That's not a blanket. That's a beach towel, just in case.
Bruh. These are children. They just happen to have been children for 50 years.
Years.
All right.
yeah.
So the original question.
So I had to the first book that I ever wrote, which is out there and everything, and actually will be coming to you soon because your package went out
Hey.
today.
Package. I'm just gonna stand with my.
It's heavy. I apologize. Also, don't open it in front of children.
Okay.
Only one of them can read. It's fine.
Okay.
No, but there's pee.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, I have one. Look, I have it decorating my.
Oh, it's a tiny peen.
Tiny
It's a tiny peen.
Title of your sex tape.
So.
Oh, it's a tiny.
Yeah.
It's adorable.
It's adorable. So Affinity for Pain, the concept came to me in a dream. That sounds so lame every time I say it. But I dreamt that, which should be the proper verb. I hate that it's dreamed. Sidebar. So she can sense Kieran's pain. Hope can sense Kieran's pain. And in my dream, that's as far as it went. But I backed up and I was like, brain started noodling and ideas happened. And I was like, well, what if before Ome Riku, the fake word that I came up with, for their soulmate connection happens and it ignites her ability to feel anything at all? What if before this she sensed nothing? Hot, cold, touch, smacks, punches, nothing. It would make her an amazing killer. It would make her so good. That's actually a medical condition where you can't sense pain. And I started down the rabbit hole.
There's an assassin who can't feel pain in one of the Elizabeth Salander books.
Yep.
So yes, in the Elizabeth Salander books, and it's a problem because he just keeps coming, and it's whole. And I was like, okay, so what does that condition actually entail, though? Like, what is it like, and what would it actually be like if you couldn't feel things? So I started doing more research on nerve damage and what it's like to constantly be numb in a particular limb, and all these other things cropped up along with it. That, like many things in life, the physical ailment has a very significant mental and emotional toll. So as much as she can feel pain, which is super cool, she can't feel hugs. And no one... Shut up, computer.
Did the computer go, aw?
The computer got sad, too.
It was my dad liking a picture of mine on Facebook. Thanks, Dad! And so it was like, all these other things come along with it where so if none of the females can feel anything prior to this event, then what would create the foundation of having a maternal bond with your kids? Nothing. Like, why would you have it? Because you're like, I made you and it kind of sucked, and now you're here and I guess I'll feed you because you're mine. But there's this weird distance that happens when you can't physically connect to other people. And so as much as the idea had started from just a that's kind of neat, it devolved down this rabbit hole where I was like, oh no, Hope is going to be just so closed off and have no understanding of what it means to connect with anybody. It's going to make her a great assassin, which is her job. But when she's all of a sudden hit with these sensations and the emotions that go along with it, it's gonna fucking suck. And so the book took a very significant emotional downward spiral for her that I wasn't necessarily anticipating, but I was like, no, this is good. This is great. I'm going to lean into it. It's great. And it's going to feed really well as a nice foil for how Kieran is dealing with PTSD from having been assaulted and captured and tortured for years in an underground fighting ring. And I'm like, so both of their brokens are going to come to a head and it's going to cause stuff to happen. And it does. And HEA, they always will have their happy at the end because I can't do that to even myself. I'm like, no, they need to be happy. They went through a whole lot. I just really make my character suffer to get there.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, I mean, it's like playing The Sims and taking the ladder out. Sometimes you just gotta do it. You just gotta put people through some shit. And this is your version of doing that.
Yeah.
Yeah, a little sandbox. And it always makes me think of the part in Ghostbusters where Egon is running the experiment and it's a room full of happy kids and they're playing with toys and there's a puppy. And then everybody, their conversation stops and it's just the seconds before the scene ends and he goes, let's see what happens if we take away the puppy. I'm like, I get you.
Oh, God, I love Egon. I miss Harold Ramis so much.
R.I.P. R.I.P.
I miss him. He was such a, awesome dude.
Yeah.
Like, he wasn't just a cool actor and everything. He was actually, like, kind and nice and did stuff. And I actually really liked the not the female reboot, which was still fun, but the one Afterlife. Is that
Afterlife.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, we haven't seen Frozen Empire. I'm not sure if it's even out yet.
I'm not really sure, but I did, because that was the newest one with Paul Rudd.
Yeah, the new one from the.
Yeah, that one was cute. I enjoyed that.
Afterlife was really fun.
And I liked that they came back together and Egon was there. Sorry, spoilers.
Yeah, that's all right.
But Egon was there at the end, and it was very sweet. And I was like, oh. And the CG was amazing to make it look like that.
Yeah, no, they're getting alarmingly good at it.
It's actually kind of creepy.
It's pretty upsetting.
How great it was. Because you're like, no, but he's not, and so I definitely felt waves.
Yeah. I did as
like,
well.
Ooh, okay.
I'm always curious, as somebody, I've written a couple of things, but I generally tend to be more of an idea person. But for somebody like yourself, who has managed to overcome that first hurdle of actually committing things to paper and making it happen, how often do you come up with an idea that you ultimately go, I'm not feeling like, what takes an idea from to I'm gonna write this for you?
I would say when it was in between Affinity for Pain and Burn the Bone, which I had written, fun fact, while I was doing collections calls to people. and it would just ring and it would go to voicemail a lot, because most of the time people don't answer, so it just cycles, and I would just keep writing until the phone clicked on, and I would just be like, yes, hello, do you want to pay your bills? No? Cool,
yeah,
bye.
exactly.
Back to what I was doing, but bills, and so in between there, when it was like, do I self-publish, do I make this happen, I don't know, what the hell, this is nonsense, I had in my desk, I would jot down ideas for things constantly, writing little snippets, writing full pages where I was like, no, okay, I really have a good idea for this. And I definitely still want to play around with some of them, but I want to say once AFP came out, and once the thread of the world kind of just was like, okay, here we're going, you're here now, there's no breaks, I was like, okay, well, all right, so if I come up with a really cool idea and I kind of like it, I guess just write it, and that's what it's been since those released. My brain goes, this is neat, and then I just write it.
Do you?
Because I'm like,
no, go ahead. I'm sorry.
I'm like, I have a finite amount of time on the planet, so I'm gonna write the thing.
Exactly. Have you DNF'd? Have you gotten maybe 20,000 words into something and been like, I'm gonna shelf this for now?
The biggest bit of block that I've had has been with Calling Evil Forth, which is book 3 in the Newborn City series, and I talked about it a little in a rambly thing that I did on TikTok, but I figured out that, weirdly enough, the reason why that one wasn't clicking with me and I was having such a hard time pushing through it was because of the cover. Because I look at them to psych myself up. I make playlists, I put up Pinterest boards, I get myself in the aesthetic of the book, and I couldn't figure out what that book's aesthetic was really, aside from the fact that Rain is my version of a siren, and I was like, so water, I guess, and it wasn't happening, and so I noodled around with the covers, and I'm actually gonna change AFPs and Burn the Bones and kind of all the ones that I had planned to do for the rest of the series to be much more object-based, because I decided that as much as I have no problem reading or purchasing books with dudes on the cover, I wasn't vibing it. And so I went through and literally did almost the entire series at this point, and then I put them all on the screen next to each other, and I was like, okay, fuck yeah, now I can do this. All right, okay. I got it. And now I understand that another big thing with that, too, is with the climate of the world. Lucas is a detective, and kind of making a police officer be the likable character when he's exhibiting signs of racism because he does not understand demons. I was like, okay, he needs to have a serious come to, not Jesus, because that doesn't exist there, so come to whatever, about how he is feeling about demons and his prejudice against them, and it needs to be a big part of the book. So it was like, okay, so that's going to be a really heavy moment for me to write. Am I mentally in the place to write something like that? And so like that took a minute to get there, during which I then decided to write Till Death.
And that one's here. So
So I think we know how that turned out.
Brains are weird. Yep.
It'll happen.
Brains are weird. I was like, it'll be a novella. It'll be like 30,000 words. Yes, I have it next to me. And I was like, it'll be 30,000 words. And I was like, oh, fuck, this is actually a full-length novel.
Oh, no. Are you kidding me? The moment, if I ever manage to get over whatever mental block I have in write something and it's printed in a physical form, it will never leave my side. I still have.
It's just so nice to hold them.
The only thing that I've ever had published is a 5-page comic in a comic book anthology, and I still have multiple copies of that in my house.
Oh, that's awesome.
That I give them away like to people every once in a while. They're last time I was at our local comic shop, they still had some copies in there, and that thing is almost 6 years old now.
Yeah, I was in college the first time I ever got something printed for real, and it was in a newspaper, and it was press release because I worked on the PR team for the college writing press releases, and it was in the actual Platteville. That's a terrible word. I wish this city was called something else, but it was the Platteville newspaper, and it was printed, and I still have a copy of it because I was like, this is the first thing I ever had printed in like a physical thing. And I'm like, look at me.
Platteville almost sounds like onomatopoeia. Like it's where onomatopoeias live. Platteville. Platt.
Yeah, it's in Wisconsin.
Yeah.
Where, you know.
It's all right. Wisconsin,
they
though.
have things.
That's where my it has my company's corporate headquarters.
Yeah. Carl's big boy job.
Yeah,
Wisconsin.
Yeah, Wisconsin.
I know. And I'm not originally from Wisconsin. I'm from Illinois. So moving, I was definitely like, it really is only just like cows and grass. Kind of
There's not.
Yep.
cool.
Yep.
Not much else.
I'm like, it's sad the amount of drinking that you have to do to entertain yourself.
Well, that's the Midwest in general.
Yeah. I mean, I was from Chicago, though, so there was stuff to do.
Yeah. You're from, like, the city? Like, the city proper?
Oak Park.
Oh, yeah.
Oak Park, so, like, right.
Yeah.
Oak Park, and then I went to private school, and I was cool. I was a cool kid in private school, and I taught all the other kids how to sing. And then I moved. And I was the new kid, and I went from that to being harassed and picked on and bullied until I wanted to end it, up until I left and went to college.
Oh.
Damn, yo.
Sucked. Where did you matriculate in college?
I went, so UWP,
Okay.
UW
Yep.
Platteville. And it was big enough that I was picked on less, so that was nice. But I still managed to find myself one of those interesting personality dichotomies that I hate seeing being duplicated in my daughter. But I tend to not be loud when I'm actually out in the world with people. This is fine. I'm like, we're good. But like with real humans, when I have to interact with you, I tend to be like, hello. Sure, whatever you would like. And I found a person that was like, oh, whatever I would like, cool. And it was like, oh no. And that was my college experience. Was just getting led around.
Yep. Story of specific periods of my life.
Do you have any questions for RE that you've been dying to ask them?
Do I have any?
It could be anything, literally.
Questions that I've been dying to ask them.
I will pretty much answer anything.
When we dig that about you.
I mean, yes and no. Because on the one hand, like, I want to know what exactly was the thought process in designing a peen like Domix? Like, did you just think, what's the weirdest thing I can do? Or did you specifically?
No, it was purposeful.
Yeah.
I love Cleo Evans. I adore her, and I had been reading a lot of their stuff and getting into fancy peens from monster romance in general, and I had just read Herculia,
Yes.
the 12 Monks of Herculia
Yes.
by
See
Rochelle, who I also adore. She's so nice. She was actually one of the first people who followed me on my author account and was like, do the thing, do it. And I was like, oh,
isn't she
God.
great?
She's so cool. God, I love her so much. Yes.
So I was reading all that, and I was like, okay, peens can do stuff. This is the best thing of monster romance.
Yeah.
So what should this peen do? And I was like, well, I enjoy nuts. I enjoy the concept of them and how it locks you into the situation. I think that that's crazy and weird, and I love it. And so I was like, okay, so I was like, but we can't just leave it there. That's like, can't just stop. So I had seen a video that Cleo Evans had stitched, and it was this weird metal device that like snaked up in the air while it sat stationary on a desk. And I was like,
I bet somebody could fuck with that thing.
Yeah.
yeah, and like our brain, everybody's brains went there. Like she stitched it specifically with the okay. And I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. So I was like, okay. So that, okay. But so if it's doing that and stuff, like, wouldn't it like be able to control those movements and like maybe rattle a little? And when I thought about him being a demon, I was like, well, what is not was like molten hot then, because he's like hell adjacent.
Yep.
And then
that's my favorite
then just
part.
the stuff kind of snowballed.
That the knot, it was like it was filled with lava, and I thought that was the best part of it.
I don't remember that coming up in the episode.
I don't know if I brought it up in the episode, which is nuts.
Yeah.
No, it's a knot.
But
that's not.
Yo. Everybody's got puns.
So I just came up with, and you can have this, Ari. This is a $2.2 million idea. No, so you remember, like, you see like those little like cardboard cutouts of like, it's a dude wearing white boxers, and then there's different shirts and pants you can put on them. Mm-hmm. Imagine a
paper doll.
Imagine a smut writer's peen design kit where it's a penis, and then there's just a bunch of different things you can tack onto it to like design your peen. Like, let's add maybe a knot here and a weird swirly here. No, get that out of there.
Maybe some bars.
Yep, some bar. No.
Tentacles.
Let's fork it. Can we fork it? No.
Let's fork it. Yeah, I mean, echidnas have 4 separate penis heads. This is also the fun thing, is you can also just look at animal peens and be like, whoa, shit.
They do some weird
Scale
stuff.
them up.
Like, snakes have hemipenes. Echidnas have 4 little penis bud heads that all work together and move and wiggle and shit. And ducks have a corkscrew penis, which I told my husband years ago, and he's like, I will never.
You can't.
I will forever.
You can
know
also tell him that female ducks
corkscrew the other direction.
They also have multiple passages for confusion's sake.
Yeah, they have false endings.
Yep.
So that you fuck the wrong thing, which I just thought was great.
Duck vagina hedge maze situation where you might go down the wrong path and lead to nowhere.
Because it was like the evolutionary arms race of like, I'm going to impregnate you.
No, you're not, bitch, because I don't want any more of these kids.
No, fuck this.
I was driving home the other day, and I had to stop in the middle of the road and put on my hazards because a mama duck was walking, like, it had to be a dozen teeny tiny little fuzzy babies across a road, like a major road, and cars were coming up behind me, and they started whipping around me, and I was like, I'm going to see duck murder today. I did not. Very fortunately, I did not. But then they all had to start jumping up over the curb, and I was like, "Oh, these babies!
You dummies! You're so small."
And knowing what we just talked about, their existence is a miracle.
It's a damn miracle.
Every life is a miracle, baby.
No,
every life.
No,
but definitely
definitely, especially no. Bill Hicks said it best. Bill Hicks said, the miracle of childbirth. It's no more a miracle than food going into your mouth and a turd coming out of your butt. That's just biology. Duck babies, that's a miracle.
Duck babies, though.
That's a miracle.
Duck babies, though. Yeah, and I in the same weird fucked up duck documentary that I had watched, I had learned that male ducks would also be willing to throw down with other male ducks, and sometimes, if they weren't alive, it wasn't a deal breaker.
Yeah. Same thing.
And I was like, oh.
Yeah.
That is the weirdest way to explain what you just explained. If they're not alive,
It's not a deal breaker.
not a deal breaker.
It's same.
They were kind of okay with it.
It's the same thing
Yeah,
with
the
dolphins
person
and
on the
otters,
documentary was like, yeah, and like otters are
Yeah.
jerks. And you learn this and you're like, what the
I
fuck?
know.
That seems wrong. I hate it. But it's also funny. But I hate it. And yeah, I think the person on the show who was like narrating in a fancy British accent was like, they will sometimes be involved in homoerotic necrophilia.
Oh.
And I was
Whoa.
like, oh.
Say that with a straight face, David Attenborough.
Homoerotic
I know.
necrophilia.
Necrophilia.
Damn.
I told you this the other. I was listening to just a random baseball game on my way home from Ohio, and the play-by-play broadcaster had to do a live on-air read, which I've heard thousands of times in my years of listening to baseball. But he did a live on-air read for adult diapers, and it was the most. Even he was like, "Huh." Like, wait. He went into a Ron Burgundy like fugue state where he reads whatever you put in front of him, and then he realizes after the fact, like, did I just read an ad for adult? Fuck me. Are you guys trying to tell me something?
Fuck, I did.
Do I need diapers?
Okay, I get.
I mean, if there's a market, there's an ad for it.
Oh yeah.
It's just, it's just the
Right?
way it is. We were talking about after you told me about that.
true.
Yeah.
How there's a whole market now for it depends for men, and the dudes on the packaging are like 40.
Yeah, they're like my age.
It's like you are not. Obviously, anyone can need a diaper for any reason.
Yeah, no,
Incontinence
totally.
is a thing. But I know your main market is not dudes who look like hunky Chad over there.
Yeah.
That
Oh, yeah.
Put these on and you'll look like this guy.
yeah, like if you need it.
A men's product.
Just put on the diaper.
Like, this is like men's tape.
Yes.
Like, it's just
Yep,
tape,
it's
guys.
men's though.
You don't need
It's men's because
tape.
it's like utilitarian gray, and
Yeah.
and it has like a printed like fake fly on the front of it or something, so it looks like underwear.
Yeah. It's got a gun on it, so you'll feel
It's camouflage,
Stronger.
Right.
so you can't even
And
see it's
and
there.
a drill.
it's like
Comes with a drill, and there's a free thing of Hustler in the
our
package.
our daughter is currently sporting pull-ups, and she last time she had Spider-Man, now she has Disney princesses. I wonder, like, what would you put on the adult male diaper? Like, come on, we're gonna go get you some new diapers, honey. Oh, I can't wait. This time I want the ones that have the Traeger smoker grill on them.
Oh yeah.
Honestly, though, the person that I could see completely throwing down to put the marketing on adult male diapers would be Deadpool.
Oh yeah.
Oh God, yes.
And, like, he'd be about it. He'd be like,
Yeah.
I would.
No, absolutely.
He would market it as like piss in my face.
Yeah.
Deadpool.
And he'd be like, for that time when this bottom half of you was a baby.
Yes.
Exactly. You can't control it.
You can't. That's why they're extra stretchy. So as you grow
They grow with you.
abnormally quickly, they'll grow with you. Deadpool adult diapers.
There you go, guys. We got it. It's right here.
One size
Everyone.
fits all.
All.
From Stark Industries.
Stark Industries.
Because they would be the
Yes.
ones that could come up with the science that
Oh
could
my
make
God.
your 2.5-year-old daughter
That
can
could
wear
make
it.
that
You can
happen.
wear it. And I think that's a good place to say, hey, Ari, so apparently you've got a book apparently. Now this, like I said, this episode is coming out. We were recording this on the 17th, but it's coming out on the 26th. And apparently you've got a book coming out on the 30th. Is that correct?
Yes, under my other me, which is Liz Highland, which, was, again, you just make decisions sometimes, and I blame my co-author for the first trilogy under that name. The Hunted, Wanted, and Trapped will be coming out. Tori was like, hey, I want to co-write with you, so you should start a contemporary pen name. And I was like, okay,
Being led again.
sure.
Yep.
Yeah, but at the same time, I was like, more reasons to write smut.
Yeah.
Okay. Twist my
Do
arm.
I need a new pen name? Yes. Does it get to be smutty?
Yes.
Oh, thank God.
Smutty?
Okay.
Okay, cool. And so when I came up with said pen name, I was like, well, Lizbeth is my middle name, so Liz could work. And I'm like, so what do I do as the last name, though? Because it should be, like, stupidly classy, even though what I'm writing about is anything but, including her.
Hey.
And so I was like, and I was like, so, well, the street I grew up on was Highland. I've created my pen name. Here you go, everyone. It's Liz Highland.
Well done. And you also... Oh, sorry, go ahead.
And then it was born.
Okay, well, there's nothing wrong with it.
And I was just, then it was born. Then it was born. I had it. And then, so yeah, Hunted, Wanted, Trapped will be coming out. But the first solo from me on the 30th under Liz is Bought and Bound.
Mm-hmm.
And I will admit that when you don't have the, I don't want to say crutch, because it's not. It's just fun of having a monster peen. You have to up the spice in other ways because there's not a monster peen. So you got to find other things to do. And this is one of the kinkiest fucking things I've done in my entire life.
So,
so much.
And if somebody were to have a physical copy of that or any of your other books, you can get them signed at a couple of signings you have coming up. You want to tell everybody about that?
I do. Yes. So I was an idiot. And I applied for 2 signings in September because I am bad at remembering dates. And I was accepted to both. And so I will be at Getting Witchy with It in Salem, Massachusetts. And I will also be at Smut Lovers, the conference in Orlando. And yes, both of those are on the other side of the country for me. And yes, flights are expensive.
Yes.
Yeah.
As our hotel
Yeah,
rooms.
that's why we're driving to Sinful.
We are driving.
When we go.
We go to Simple Signings. Ugh, Getting Witchy with it, though. I want to go to that one. That sounds like fun.
I wanted to go to that one forever because I just want an excuse to go to Salem because that would be amazing, and I've never been. And also, it's all, like, fun, witchy shit for the most part. Like, there's contemporary authors that are going just for the hell of it and stuff, but there's a lot of PNR and monster authors and people who have witches in their books, as I do. And so I'm like, oh, I'm going to spend so much money on this. This is going to be great. Hopefully I break even in any type of way.
Well, I am sure that those dates will show up on your website, rejohnsonbooks.com.
Yes, it is. Yes,
yep.
.com. And I have a calendar somewhere. It's the 18th through the 22nd is Smut Lovers. I know that much. And then Getting Witchy with It is the weekend before it. Oh. So, like, it's back to back. And I feel so bad for the people who are going to have to watch my children. But, again, I'm a moron. And didn't, like, consider when these were next to each other. And there's also that, the 13th and the 14th is Getting Witchy. There's always that part of your brain, too, that's like, well, they're not going to want me there. So I'm sure I won't hear back. And then I heard back from both of them. And I was like, oh.
That'll learn you.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to include links to all of your websites and social media in the show notes for this. We are going to wrap things up now. R.E. Johnson, you have been as delightful as we hoped you would be, and you have been on TikTok and in text messages. Please continue texting my wife.
Yeah, I want to hear all about the cool Tarzan
Oh,
man.
my God. Oh, my God. Okay. Yeah, he's giving me trouble. I'm having a hard time with getting his voice, but I'll tell you all about him. Giant,
you know
7
what's
foot
fun?
tall
You can
Tarzan
take a
man.
personality test as him.
Oh my God, that's a really good idea.
Yeah, I've done that for like a lot of characters. Is I'll take personality tests for them, like the what job would you be best at, and the like, are you the enneagram one? Are you the leader? Are you the scientist? And then one that's like, are you an ENFP? Are you an ENFJ? I just said my two. Because I was P and J were literally 50% when I took it. So they were like, you could potentially be an ENFP or an ENFJ because they're literally 50% split down the middle at the end. And I was like, oh.
Okay. So you're both.
Cool, thanks.
You get to be two. That's a good idea, though, taking
I
personality
That is a
tests
great
for
idea.
characters. That's so good.
Well,
Yeah.
Also,
super
Pinterest
fun.
boards.
Yeah.
I'm
Pinterest boards. And then on
Who needs
the
to actually
Pinterest
write?
boards,
You just need
go and type in, right, and then to put in the ENFP, like, hashtag don't go read these because she's a piece of shit, but ENFP, J.K. Rowling, like Harry Potter books, like, and you can see what the characters are, and so you can be like, oh, okay, so based on his personality profile, he's reading very similar to Ron Weasley.
Yeah.
Okay, and it can kind of, it can start wheels moving.
Gives you an idea of where a character can go, because
But don't be a transphobe.
Well, I was gonna say that is a great place.
But don't be a transphobe.
Joe can go jump in a pit.
Great place to put this to bed. Fuck J.K. Rowling. Thumbs up, R.E. Johnson. Thumbs down, J.K. Rowling. You will never see J.K. Rowling on this show. That's for damn sure. R.E. Johnson.
She would.
Thank you.
She would not. She'd be like, yes, come on.
Gross. Thank you so much for joining us on this month's author profile.